into Candace's first clip, where she really does almost appear giddy about the prospect that Tyler Robinson, she thinks, I don't actually believe this is true, but she at least does, may be acquitted and walk a free man.
All right, you guys, happy Tuesday indeed. I really did have the best day ever yesterday. I mean, the internet explodes because the ATF in the Tyler Robinson case cannot connect the gun to him. Oh, okay, interesting. What does it all mean?
Wrong.
A bunch of people racing. Ooh, could you imagine the PR cash they are spending right now racing to tell you this is a big nothing burger. Who cares if we can't connect the gun to the bullet fragment? Okay, we care. I care because we were right.
Boy, Candyland is a wild place, y'all.
Tyler Robinson is a patsy. The feds are just putting this on him, and I do mean the FBI. From JFK to MLK, now to CJK. This is, in my opinion, an undeniable state killing. If the gun does not fit, you must acquit.
If the gun does not fit, you must acquit. No, actually. If there's an inconclusive ballistic match, but you have lots of other evidence, you don't have to acquit someone. I genuinely don't even understand why she would say that or make the reference to O.J. Simpson. Because again, I really don't think that's the example that you think it is for your case. I mean, is she like a O.J. truther? Does she actually think O.J. was truly innocent? I kind of don't, but I'll admit I'm not super well versed in the case.
Okay. I need to figure out where I'm going to be recording. Today, before we leave this room, I figured let's do one last video. And I think this one's very important as Tyler Robinson's case has been kind of up in the air, especially with this fake news hitting the media saying that the bullet didn't match, which is not true. It didn't say that. We can correct all that in a bit. But today, there's been a lot that I've been finding exposing Candace Owens. I wanted to do this on my conspiracy channel, but, yeah, I've just been avoiding the conspiracy world. God has told me back off of it. Just leave my hands dry of it. It's not time. And I always trust my instincts, and God is guiding me, so I know I'm doing the right thing. Let's go listen to these people who have exposed Candace, and when I make my conspiracy, maybe we'll be able to put some of this stuff in there. For now, let's dive into this crazy mess that Candace Owens has caused into her supposed best friend's case. We're going to start with Tall Oran here. He is one of the first channels I watched that were exposing some of the Candace stuff, but this one he found, on point. It's so on point. So let's just jump straight into it.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on. I mean, I do know what's going on. I've been covering it extensively on the show. It's Candace who has poisoned the well. She made everyone think that there's some giant conspiracy going on, when in reality, it was a leftist who killed her husband. And now she's sending all this hate towards this poor woman. It's actually fucking disgusting. Like, it doesn't stop getting disgusting all this time.
Before we get to this video, okay, Joshua Carr's video, I really want to explain to you my perspective of this case and why it's so simple for me to look away from the conspiracy and the nonsense. And it's very simple. It's so extremely simple. Candace Owens keeps saying this has something to do with MK Ultra and Project Monarch, right? Project Monarch and MK Ultra have been used mostly by the Illuminati and sometimes the Freemasons to create government officials and music officials, like people who are in the music industry and people who are in the movie industry, kind of to be their puppets for the Kabbalah of evil, okay? Now, the reason I don't believe this is a psyop, and I don't believe this has anything to do with Project Monarch, because Project Monarch already did what it was supposed to. It was supposed to sow doubt into the public. It was supposed to create narratives that are conspiracies so that the public no longer trusts reality, right? So why would they need to go out of their way to MK Ultra the public when MK Ultra was to disrupt public, right? I believe they had made it as far as they needed to with their goal in MK Ultra because they already had so many puppets in the in the public. Like, people were already doing what they needed. Once those COVID shots came, it kind of proved it, right? It proved who was brainwashed and who wasn't. And that was how they saw how many puppets they had. They don't need to make any more. It's very simple. All they have to do is put the information out there and NPCs stick to it, right? And I truly don't think that there is a huge conspiracy and the government is involved. I do believe there are other trans communities involved. I do believe there are fascist communities involved, like Antifa, who is communist and Marxist communists at that. So I truly don't see how this could be about the government when it's very simply the left is so brainwashed, they will murder their enemies in the streets, which we have seen since 2020, right? We have seen so many MAGA people killed just for being MAGA. And they use the word Nazi to destroy the humanity in MAGA so that people look at them like they're less than human. That's why they get called maggots, right? I woke up this morning to somebody saying, why is MAGA so ugly, or something like that? Why are maggots always so ugly? And I'm used to it. It doesn't offend me like at all. I don't get offended by, like, go ahead, insult me. Oh, I'm gonna go cry. Like, come on, I'm fucking 34. I'm not 12. So maggots, right? They want you to feel inhuman, and they want your opposition to see you as not human. And that's why it was so easy for Charlie Kirk to be murdered. In my video exposing the Kirk effect, right, we saw so many people willing to celebrate publicly, post it, lose their jobs, and still not care. Still have that much hatred in their hearts that they are proud that this guy killed somebody, that they are glad. They're still saying, oh, we need to go after Trump. We need to go after JD Vance, Elon Musk. They want more of us to die. They actually want more of us to die, including just people walking down the street in a red hat. And why would you need to go out of your way to MK Ultra these people when the media did it for you, right? That's how I look at it. There's no other reason to dive into these fake rabbit holes that have been planted to distract you from the truth that's right in front of you. And that's why I think conspiracy diving is so dangerous right now. The truth is right in front of us. We don't have to go underground for the truth right now. Maybe some topics a little bit, but for the most part, everything is very much right in front of our eyes. Exposure, right? God is exposing everything. This is the year of the age of Aquarius. Everything will be exposed. Everything will become justified, okay? Everything will become justified. Judgment will be coming. Judgment is coming, okay? The dawn of Aquarius brings judgment, and it will hand out that judgment and karma. So, I lost my train of thought. I definitely got off topic. Yes, the truth is going to be exposed. We're going to watch this. These people who are going to die on this hill, kill for standing on this hill. It's insane. It's insane. And what's even crazier is the amount of the right who, because of this case, has completely left MAGA. Because of this case, this false rabbit hole, right? I truly believe Candace Owens is a psyop, and I honestly have come to the conclusion that so is Alex Jones. They see how good at they see how good he is at what he does, the Kabbalah, right? This evil Kabbalah who we don't know, who the puppet pullers, right? The puppet masters. They see how good he is at conspiracy, so they allow him to do it to keep the public distracted as well. That's my theory as to why they have done nothing about Alex Jones. Same now with pretty much anyone who pushes this Qatar nonsense, like Tucker Carlson, right? Even now, the Hodge twins, which they aren't being paid to go against Israel. They are most likely just being pushed by the media, right? They don't need an MK Ultra programming. We're doing it to ourselves now with all these false rabbit holes. I hope this is making sense. I really do, because now I'm getting lost. Before I get any more lost, let's jump into this video.
A car with 50,000 subs. Let's go follow and check out his channel. And support him.
Joshua Carr, guys.
Who's apparently done a deep dive in all this.
Welcome to episode 1 of my series, Obsession with Charlie. I'll be showing you my in-depth investigation of who Candace Owens really is, her shady past, what she believes, and who funds her. And as Candace says, this will be no kerfluffle, guys. Today I'll also be showing you an exclusive phone call I had with one of Erica Kirk's best friends, someone who sees her regularly and has spoken to Candace recently. As she herself relates, she became a raging leftist after experiencing some racism in school and developing a close relationship with her grandfather who experienced discrimination in Jim Crow era North Carolina. Candace became an activist from the very beginning because of this. She was fueled by resentment for her living conditions and family difficulties, including 5 of her uncles and some of her cousins being in jail.
I have cousins that have spent time in prison, and it was just a part of my story growing up. And it wasn't particularly unique. It's a weird thing to say, but in the retrospect, like, that seems normal to me. Like, we're going to go see your uncle in prison. Okay, sure, that's what you do.
I think that's normal for a lot of people.
Right.
For other people,
It's not.
extraordinary.
Yeah, which really lets you know that you can create different simulations in different pockets of society, and until you travel outside of it to have a different experience, you think it's just the norm.
And thus,
It's funny how she calls that a simulation. A different life experience is a simulation. No, I would just say that's just a different life experience. You could just keep that title. Calling it a simulation is very strange.
began her career in activism. In high school, her and her mom, with the help of the NAACP, sued her school district and settled for $37,000. And from there, she went to study journalism, of course, at the University of Rhode Island. In 2015,
How
remember,
beautiful.
just 11 years ago, she founded an organization called Degree 180. Now, a lot of people have not heard of this. Degree
Now, this is important. This is probably one of the most important ones, Degree 180, okay, guys? Don't forget about this one. And the reason I don't want you guys to forget about this is because before October, November, there was a lot of information online about her husband working with Mahmoud Khalil to start doing this again, where they're policing people's speech online, exposing people's digital footprints, and pretty much trying to find ways to get people banned, right? So I would listen to this. Everything that was online about Mahmoud Khalil and George Farmer working together is no longer online. I cannot find it anywhere at all. So I find that strange. I had a lot of information on it, and now all those links are gone. So, yeah, very weird. Very weird.
Degree 180 was a media company, and it was designed specifically to combat President Trump because this was when he was running for president for the first time. Degree 180 also featured celebrity gossip, topics surrounding love and marriage, and if that sounds familiar to you, it should, because anti-Donald Trump, celebrity gossip, love and marriage is exactly what she talks about on her show today, as we will get into. So this started from the very beginning. As part of Degree 180, Candace Owens also started something called Social Autopsy. Here is Candace from 10 years ago explaining what that is.
Introducing Social Autopsy, the first ever search database that compiles and allows the public to easily access the digital footprint of individuals and companies.
And thus began Candace Owens' doxing days, where, like any good leftist, she wanted to cancel people for anything they said on the internet. And despite pushing for its release, Social Autopsy was dead on arrival. There was harsh backlash. It never actually officially launched, thank goodness. And this began what Candace describes as her massive transformation, where she realized that cancel culture was wrong and she wanted to become a conservative. Now, before we get into where George Farmer and Kanye West and Charlie Kirk come into play, let me tell you the rules for this investigation. This goes for today's episode, for next week, and the week after that. You could call it maybe the architecture of my investigation, if you will. Now, I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to be playing by the same rules as Candace Owens. This is not how I typically do my show, but if she can dish it out, she better be able to take it. So we're going to speculate. We're going to speculate a lot, and we will look very closely at her personal life because she's made it very clear that that is on the table, that she will bring children, widows, parents who are ailed into this. She'll bring her friend who was assassinated into this. And so all things are on the table for this investigation.
I agree.
And it might get a little bit nasty. And most importantly, we're just asking questions, guys. We're just asking questions. So from Social Autopsy, we see the beginning of a pattern for Candace Owens. Go where the money is. That is all. She was not an ideologue. She never was, because she went from a raging leftist to a conservative without any actual thing happening in her life other than failed businesses. She thought there was money in doxing people. When she realized people didn't like that, and when Trump won the election, she switched gears because she knew there was a new conservative wave happening in America. Standards, I'm totally cool with that, but this was something completely different. And as Erica Kirk's friend told me, there was no romance involved at all. This was a purely business marriage.
And that's why he proposed to her. But there was absolutely no courting, no dating, no romance, no nothing. And that's my point, which is kind of interesting how you then have the counterfeit of how she attacks Charlie and Erica.
Now, maybe you're saying, look, Josh, that conversation you had was just gossip. So why don't we hear from George Farmer himself?
When I met her, I was like, this is a woman who, she just commanded a power. It was very difficult to describe. Nothing romantic was said,
So weird.
Between that day and the day that we got engaged, nothing romantic was said at all. There was no overtures. Like we didn't go for dinner. Like we didn't take it. Nothing.
Send flowers.
No, nothing. Yeah, nothing. Exactly. And so I was very clear about that, because it was almost like getting to know oneself in some ways. It was kind of a very strange experience.
Candace Owens in this episode that comes out next week, Candace was never truly friends with Charlie Kirk. She was never truly friends with Erica. All she wanted was to run TPUSA and be the head. And he fired her before she could take over. That's why she accuses all of her political opponents of trying to take over TPUSA when they're not, because that's exactly what she wanted to do. One of the big questions I think a lot of us have is what went wrong between Erica and Candace's meeting? They met a couple of months ago, as most of you know, and it's gone way south since then. Before that, Candace Owens was implying that Erica Kirk had something to do with Charlie's assassination. Now, obviously, she has launched a full-scale investigation into Erica.
Right.
I asked Erica's friend about this. As it turns out, she actually called Candace herself. Again, this girl that I talked to in this recording talked to Candace for at least an hour and asked her herself what happened. And here is what she said.
I asked Candace, I said, okay, you had Erica for 4.5 hours. And I don't know if I said this on Grams or not, but I said, you had Erica for 4.5 hours. Why didn't you ask her any question that you wanted to ask her? Erica was gracious enough to fly down to Nashville to meet with Candace, because Candace said she couldn't come up here and all these other which again, whatever, you can, but that's okay. So Erica's like, I'm going to go. And so I asked her that, and she said, oh, no, I wasn't on the destroying Erica train then. She said, I thought she was being unfairly judged. And I'm like, that's a complete lie, because that's why Erica went.
It's crazy that she's trying to say she didn't try to destroy Erica Kirk till after she met with her. Like, that's insanity. The reason Erica Kirk met with her was to stop Candace and give her what she wanted so that she would stop doing this and ruining the court hearing, ruining the case.
Right.
I mean, she would not have gone down there if she would not have felt the need to have a face-to-face conversation.
Crazy.
And that's why she did that, and Erica did that because that's who she is. She wants to handle things at the highest level of integrity, not go back and forth over text messages and, all the other kinds of stuff. And she even said, I thought it went pretty well. She goes, I'm completely blindsided by how this has taken this turn.
Welcome to episode 2 of my series, Obsession with Charlie, my investigation into who Candace Owens really is, her blatant lies, and who is funding her. If you haven't seen episode 1 yet, I have put a link in the description below for you to check out. And for those of you who did watch it, I want to thank you. It is the number 2 most hyped podcast on all of YouTube for last week, and it has reached over 100,000. And what every single one of them had in common is that they were terrified of what Candace would do to them if they spoke out, because they understood that she would stop at nothing to become more rich and more famous. Well, last night, guys, I had a dream about Candace Owens, and that's the basis for today's episode. No, I'm joking, of course, because that would be obviously insane. But that's what Candace does. No, what I want to tell you about is a story about a guy named Robbie Hild. Robbie Hild was there on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was one of Candace Owens' first targets. When Candace Owens began her investigation into the assassination of Charlie, one of the first videos she saw was of Robbie Hild's friend named Shaner. Shaner decided to do some citizen journalism of his own and walked through the crime scene after the assassination, retracing the steps of Tyler Robinson, and Candace saw this video. One of the things she noticed from the video was that Shaner had two friends with him. One of them was Robbie Hild, who she thought looked like the pictures of the suspected assassin released by the FBI. So she decided to reach out to Shaner to ask about what he had found out and maybe get a little bit of information about Robbie Hild, who she thought at the time was suspect numero uno. Here is Candace Owens.
This is so sad. Like the amount of people that she got, because I think he's going to cover like 3 or 4, but the amount of people that she got involved just because they were there. And the amount of people that were attacked, that were just civilians who witnessed something disgustingly, terrifyingly, nightmare-giving, PTSD-giving event. She sent people to attack them. She knows what she was doing. All content creators know how that works. And even those who aren't content creators, like, I'm obviously don't have enough people to have a base where it's like that, where I could send a bunch of people in one direction, right? But we've all witnessed it. We've seen this happen. And the one that I think of most is the ukulele girl, right? And the way she would manipulate all of those people, those young people. And that's what Candace Owens is doing. She's manipulating young people to do evil. It's very, very, very gross, disgusting.
Talking about it on her show.
And I reached out to his nephew Shane, and I asked for them to identify the guys in that photo. Like I said, I was interested in who those individuals were because I couldn't find it on his friend list. And in response, Shane immediately takes his profile private. And Phil Lyman, leaves me on red.
Not
Now, I just want to say this here. Why would he put it to private, guys? Is it because he's scared that there's going to be a bunch of people finding out he was involved? Or is it because a bunch of strange people are now in his comments, messages, probably tagging him in things and sending him scary stuff like death threats or telling him to tell them everything he knows, or they're going to send people to him? Who knows the things he was getting? Because people are awful. People are awful online. They really are. It's crazy the way they get a hive mind and attack. It is like an NPC. It's so much like a programmed computer. It's insane. And yeah, living bots. They're living bots. And all they need is their master to give them one demand and they'll do it right on cue. It doesn't even have to say, go attack these people. It could look like, this person was spotted here. Oh, wow, I found their Instagram. I wonder why they won't tell me the truth. And what's going to happen? All of her viewers are going to start attacking him. I'd put my accounts to private as well. Absolutely. If I was that scared, 100%. Because the next thing you know, they could be getting your phone number, your address. It's very simple. We live in a terrifying time where anybody can be found.
Not only could Candace not even get this guy's name correct, but she outright lied on her show to her audience. She says that Shaner ghosted her, that he didn't want to give Candace any info on his friend. Well, I have the DM from Candace to Shaner. This has never been released publicly before, and I'm going to show you guys. This is exactly what she sent. She said, "Hey Shane, looking at all of the footage that you posted as I'm investigating Charlie's murder, can I have your number, please? Wanted to ask some follow-up questions. Shaner immediately said, you can see 5 hours later, absolutely, and included his number. After that, Candace Owens never responded. Candace outright lied about what went on in that DM, and Candace doubled down on this in a later episode, making it very clear that she was set on lying about both Shaner and Robbie.
Regarding Shaner Broderick, who is, according to Phil Lyman, a cousin who he refers to Phil as his uncle across interviews. Doesn't matter. They're family members is the main point, and they know each other. And Shaner Broderick has, of course, mysteriously deleted all of his socials except for Instagram, but he's wiped his Instagram. Okay.
Shaner literally sent her his number, and Candace was the one that ghosted him because it did not fit her narrative. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. Candace continued to double down and say that Robbie Hild was invisible, that nobody knew who he was, nobody knew where he was on September 10th, and that he was definitely the culprit.
Oddly, when I say oddly, I mean this has never happened in the history of all of our investigations. No one emailed us to say that they knew either of those two individuals, neither the blonde that's with Shaner or the person that is wearing the blue hat that is with Shaner. I said, that's weird. Nobody in the whole wide Candace Owens universe of investigation. It was making me...
See, she straight up says it like, we're all investigating this together. She expects them to go after people like little minions. It's very clear.
Believe maybe those two individuals are like, I don't know, from overseas. Like maybe they're not even American.
Oh my God.
I have in my possession right now, and for obvious reasons, I cannot show it to you, but it is in my email. I have Robbie Hild's birth certificate. I have his passport showing that he is a U.S. citizen. Candace knows this and has deliberately lied about it. This is information she could have had, but chose not to even get it from Shaner. I also have multiple emails in my possession sent from associates of Robbie to Candace Owens' tip line stating they know who Robbie is, that he's just a normal dude. He's not invisible. He doesn't really have social media. There's a lot of people who just don't really like social media. That was Candace Owens' justification for saying he's invisible. But I have multiple emails, and I can't read the exact contents of the emails, but they are people who are fans of Candace's. And they're basically pleading with her not to lie about Robbie, saying that they were next to him at the Charlie Kirk event, saying they support dollars no matter how complicated your taxes are.
I really wanted to find his full videos, but he has so many on Candace. So we're going to watch these few clips, and then I have another one of his videos, but I want to hear all of it. It sounds like it's really good.
Deliberately ignoring facts or changing them in order to fit her chosen narrative, she is incredibly easy to fool as well. And I wanted to test this further because I was curious. How does Candace Owens really collect her data? How does she do her research? How easy would it be, for instance, to send a fraudulent tip to her tip line? So I gave it a try. And I want to share with you what I found. I sent the following email to her tip line at moretips@CandaceOwens.com.
I'm going to skip it because what he did with the Shapiro, it actually, they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it at all.
I'm messed up. I realized I've been too brazen in my attempts at some comedy.
Oh my gosh, she's
I wanted to be able to catfish them and then do it in the name of Benjamin Arepas. And we're going to be showing who funds her and how much money she has made in actual terms of dollars and cents, because we have an exact number. Because
now this is the thing that I think is most convincing. Once you see how much money she's making, I don't know if anyone who doesn't have a soul could put it down, because it's the perfect grift. And literally, in order to say no on earth to things of material, you have to have a soul, and you have to really appreciate your soul and understand its worth and value. So it does not surprise me that she gave in to this, sadly.
At the end of the day, for her, all of this comes down to one thing: money.
Of course it does. She is a money whore, we know this.
began her independent podcast in June of 2024, and it took off fast because she leaned on the same thing that she leaned on since the beginning of her commentary career in 2014, which is celebrity drama. She was able to grow her audience, leveraging her fallout with Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. She also harkened back to her 2015 days by openly opposing Trump once again. You can see right here that her podcast starts off very strong in terms of subscriber growth. She got 380,000 new subscribers in July of 2024. And each line that you see on that graph right there represents 100,000 new subscribers. So she grew steadily for about 9 months there until April of 2025. By that point, the presidential election was over. She had openly come out against Trump, and her audience growth stalled out completely. In fact, it went well below 1/4 of the growth that she had before. And that is until Charlie Kirk was assassinated. You can see from April all the way to September, it plateaued. And not only did it plateau, it cratered. You can see the second lowest month in her podcast history happened to be the month that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and actually continued to plateau throughout that month, even though she was talking about Charlie Kirk actively. He was assassinated again on September 10th, and she talked about him for 20 days after, and still her channel did not grow. It was one of the worst months for her ever. That is until she switched gears, and you can see this on her channel. Suddenly in October, she decided that she wanted to go on this conspiracy quest. She started asking questions, and she experienced more growth in that month than in the last 6 months combined. You can see it on this graph. This is from Social Blade. This is public information, and I have corroborated this with...
So in about maybe even January of 2024, maybe even December of 2024. Did I say January of 2024? I meant January of 2025 and November 2024. That's when I was actually watching Candace. Was like, okay, what's up with her? I want to check it out. And the moon landing. The moon landing one is good. It's pretty wild. And a very good rabbit hole with good information, with not a dead end. You actually make your way out alive as long as you know how to not track that shit through Earth with you, bring it back up to the surface. When you bring that shit back up to the surface, a lot of people are going to be looking at you sideways. And this is the thing, okay? I've said this a lot. This is why I separate my conspiracy channel from my real world channel. We shouldn't muddy that boundary, right? We need a safeguard. Like when you see people in the back rooms, right? They're always in those suits, got the masks. We need that when we deep dive into conspiracies, just to make sure we're safe from these really, really bad, corrupt conspiracies that are literally demonic and will have attachments, right? Gotta have that suit on, God's armor, all right? And a lot of people don't have that. It's really lacking. So it's very important that you put it on at least before you go in these rabbit holes. And yeah, so the moon one was really good. And I'm not going to lie, the France Macron one wasn't too bad either. I do think it was invasive of her to do what she did. Maybe it's not the greatest thing to do to the public, to public figures, but sometimes it needs to happen. And there was a lot of stuff that came out there that was more informative than the whole Macron is a man. How about the pedophilia? How about that? How about we talk about the PDF files and all that stuff? Because that is valid criticism that we can bring back to the surface safely, right? And nope, we're going to stick with she's a man. So that's another reason I think this is a grift. She knows about the Illuminati, and so she's probably afraid to get in trouble or killed and stuff, right? I feel like at this point, they are utilizing her to just destroy the masses, and it's kind of benefiting them both. That's why they haven't gotten her yet. But let's say she were to start telling the truth. Do you think they'd keep her around? That car accident, that one girl who said she wasn't suicidal. I think her last name was Guthrie. What is her first name? No, not Guthrie. That's that lady who was just kidnapped. Oh my gosh, who was it? She was an Epstein victim, and she was like, I'm not suicidal. They tried to kill her, and she was in the hospital, and she said, again, I'm not suicidal. Next thing you know, she's in a car accident, right? And the same thing happened to Ellen DeGeneres' wife. This is a real thing, okay? And real conspiratorial. I believe it, in my opinion, it is real, but it is one of those topics where you do have to be careful, be safe. Like I said, the armor of God, we have to trust that more than the dark information in the rabbit holes. So, you keep it in your pocket, you pull it out when you want to check shit, but don't use it all the time, man. It makes us crazy.
Other sources, such as ViewStats, there are a lot of people who track these sort of things because it is public data. You can see in October, when she started the conspiracy grift, over 800,000 new subscribers came pouring in to see what Candace had on the Charlie Kirk investigation. And this is when Candace realized she had to continue to fabricate evidence in order to keep the grift going. How could you not if you have the ethics that she has? She cratered. You can see it in the graph. And then suddenly out of nowhere, and again, Candace has 4 of those every single video. So let's assume that her sponsors pay CPM of $30, which I think is very conservative and I think it's very realistic. That means her daily revenue from sponsors alone is $308,400. Now, the other revenue source she takes in is from YouTube ads as well. She gets 1.21 million views from YouTube. CPMs on YouTube are much lower since it's not host read on YouTube. I think maybe $10 per 1,000 views would be a conservative estimate for a podcast length video. And that would mean that she makes an additional $12,142 a day from YouTube. So here is the grand total, guys. Charlie Kirk died 6 months ago. In that time, she's produced 79 episodes over 184 days. And in that amount of time, Candace Owens has made $59 million.
That's insane.
$59 million. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to hear that, and they're going to think that it's an unfathomably large number.
That's insane.
There's no way that's real. That's got to be exaggerated or fabricated, guys. It is not. And for some context, podcasting is a huge industry, and Candace Owens does get a lot of views. Just in the past few years, podcasting services have offered several people hundreds of millions of dollars just to go on the platform. That is not even including the ad revenue. Just to show you some examples of this, you had the big famous one, which was Joe Rogan. Spotify paid him $250 million, and it wasn't even exclusive to go onto their platform and host his show there. You have one with Alex Cooper, who's the Call Her Daddy host, $125 million with SiriusXM. You had a $100 million deal with SiriusXM with Jason Bateman, and Bill Simmons did one for $250 million on Spotify in 2020. So the money in podcasting is massive, and Candace Owens has taken full advantage. Now, before we get to who these sponsors are, I want to give a quick callback to episode 1 of this series. I saw some criticism of my video saying that my theory that George Farmer and Candace has a business relationship, that it didn't make sense. Candace Owens, they're not really conservatives, but it's people either on the alt-right or true conservatives like Ben Shapiro and many others. I did a lot of research into them, and honestly, these are really good companies. That's what's tricky. They are founded by veterans, they're founded by families, most of them are good products, and they support conservatives, which is good. But right now, they're also supporting Candace Owens, who is neither conservative nor someone you want your brand associated with. So I'm not calling to boycott these brands, but I do think that they should reevaluate their ties to Candace, and we should go and tell them to do it. I don't like cancel culture. I'm not calling to boycott these brands, but I do think that they should reevaluate their ties to Candace, and we should go and tell them to do it. I don't like cancel culture. I don't think we should cancel these companies. I think we should let them know how we feel and remind them of what Candace Owens has said and who she's attacking. I'm all for money. I'm a capitalist. Sponsors on podcasts are a given, and there's nothing wrong.
Well, we appreciate Joshua Carr's investigation here, and we have our last clip from what the evidence is that Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk.
He just said, I'm just going to grant all of it. I want to see the evidence that he didn't shoot him. What is it?
What did you say? Sorry.
What's the evidence that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk? What is it?
So the evidence that Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, people would argue that
I'm asking for your argument, not people's.
Yeah, I mean, people would say the 30-06 not having an exit wound would be one of the main sources of evidence that Tyler Robinson did not take the shot with that specific weapon. But that's not a claim that necessarily I'm not going to hinge my entire opinion on that specific point. Is it unlikely?
Okay, great. Okay, hang on. Great. Okay, so you're saying you're not even sure about that. So what would be the compelling evidence that you would be using that would compel you past the state's evidence to say that the state would be incorrect about Tyler Robinson having pulled the trigger on Charlie?
Fear and anger. Okay? Fear and anger. Once again, fear and anger lead us in the wrong direction always. Bravery, the opposite, to face your fears and go through them with God. To choose that road.
What? What specific things? What?
The specific things that would... Look, I believe and I think that it's very likely that Tyler Robinson could have killed Charlie Kirk. I'm not necessarily making an argument that he did not.
So let's sow doubt in the public's mind. That's what we should do if we think that it could have been him. Let's sow doubt in the public so that the jury can be tainted.
Andrew, my main concern is that this is bigger than just Tyler Robinson. That is my main concern.
It is.
If Tyler Robinson did take the...
But it wasn't our government. It wasn't the FBI conspiracying with fucking Egypt and Israel, guys. So stupid.
Shot, and I say if he did, because it's innocent until proven guilty, then...
Brain rot. I blame brain rot.
It's true. Now let's move on. I got a few. Oh shit, this one's a long. Oh shit, this one's really long.
Israel can assassinate. They can assassinate effectively, but when they assassinate, they use Mossad agents. They don't use kids that...
This guy's cool. He's a good CIA agent. I saw him in a video my sister sent me, and I can't remember the guy's name. Tommy G. He's cool. I watched him drown some people. It was pretty funny. He didn't literally drown them, okay, guys? Just chill. He was just waterboarding them. He wasn't drowning them.
Circular reporting is when one source gives a piece of intelligence, and then you hear the same intelligence from a separate source. And then you think to yourself, oh, if I'm hearing it from two different sources, that must increase the reliability of it being real, being true. What we don't realize is that the second source learned the information from the first source.
It's literally like a mold infecting a brain. And then it moves to the next one. And it reminds me of those ants, those zombie ants. I swear it.
So really, it's the same information from the same source, but we're reporting it as two different sources.
It smells like Candace Owens, who keeps blaming Israel for Charlie Kirk's assassination, right?
You forgot about Egypt.
So when you have one influencer who basically posts a conspiracy theory, and then 5 other influencers just repeat the same conspiracy theory, to us, it feels like there's 5 people saying this.
It sounds like Twitter in a nutshell. This is why I left the Twitter sphere. It is rough on Twitter. The anti-Semites live in the X zone. It's awful there. It's awful there. It's a terrible place.
Right. It's only one. They're all just piling on to the same thing. They're all on the same gravy train. The last thing I want to say here...
I feel like my hair is as big as him just without the waves.
It doesn't make any sense when you look at geopolitics and the importance of blowback. Blowback is when you make a geopolitical error that has massive consequences. So we saw that there were ceasefires that fell apart and there was blowback. There were consequences internationally. When Russia invaded Ukraine, there were sanctions. That was blowback. That was international. As much as Israel has taken the steps it has taken, as ostracized as it's been, as polarizing as it's been, it would not risk killing a conservative American influencer when their support base in the United States is conservative Americans. And the argument that people are making here is, oh, well, like 2 weeks beforehand, Charlie Kirk said he was going to split away from Judaism or supporting Israel. What do you think when Israel assessed that break with Charlie Kirk? Do you think that they thought to themselves, we need to publicly kill this man? Or do you think they said something more along the lines of, we need to work on the next 6 to 12 months finding a way to bring him back into the fold? Because he has decades worth of utility if we can make him a supporter again. But if we kill him, think about the risk of...
What are those shoes? I need those shoes. What are they? I must know. I'll save it for later, though.
Blowback. If they were to actually kill him, and if they were to be caught, or if they were to be formally implicated, that's going to destroy their relationship with the conservative base of the United States for decades. Israel can assassinate, and they can assassinate effectively, but when they assassinate, they use Mossad agents. They don't use kids that dress up in bunny costumes and make out with their male roommate. That's not what they use as an assassin.
Well, I always thought that was absurd. You know, why would I? First of all, my point, look, Charlie Kirk was an influential figure. But that influential, that you have to take him out, like he's going to destroy Israel, don't, yeah, it made no sense to me.
Also, to me, what doesn't make sense is if Israel takes out every person that doesn't show support to Israel when they used to show support to Israel, why are they not killing Candace Owens? Why are they not killing Tucker Carlson? Why are they not killing all these people that used to be on Israel's wagon, and now they're not? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because it didn't happen. It's all one big conspiracy. There's no proof, no link, nothing.
But I think you nailed it in that, really. Let me ask you this. I have a friend, two things I want to say. Well, let me ask you this first. How does the CIA stack up against Mossad? Would you consider one a superior agency or...
The professional answer here is that you have to look at the different categories because intelligence has multiple categories. When it comes to size and scale of capability, CIA crushes Mossad.
Well,
we have a much higher budget. We have a much wider international footprint in where we can operate, where we're prepared to operate, the network that we have in those different countries. Mossad is...
I mean, think about it. The CIA is so big that there's an internal war within the CIA. We have Trump people who want America to be free, and we have actual agents of the freaking corrupt Kabbalah that is trying to ruin the world, right? So, the CIA is huge.
Really only focused on a few countries, and really primarily Iran, and then proxies of Iran. So, where the United States is the premier superpower.
Mossad is good at what they do, though. You can't deny it. They were in Iran pretending to be Iran agents. Like, they're good at what they do. I would love to see a movie about like an IDF soldier who did that, like who was in disguise. I would love that shit. That would be so dope. Like someone's got to make that where they're pretending to be a part of the IRGC, but really they're freaking IDF. Like, please, yes, please give me it. I want it now.
We have 160 countries that are all trying to take us down. Israel has one country that's trying to take it down, right? It's got a couple other threats that are coalition nations, but they're not trying to eradicate the country like Iran is trying to eradicate the country. So your budget gets spread pretty far and wide when 160 countries are vying for you versus when just one is. So when it comes to size and scope, CIA crushes Mossad. But when it comes to refined, sophisticated, high-risk operations, nobody touches Mossad. Because Mossad has no problem executing assassinations because the blowback for their concern, the blowback is worth it. Because the people they assassinate, by and large, are people who are actually posing a existential threat to the homeland. Again, not Charlie Kirk, not influencers. That's not who threatens Israel. Nuclear scientists in Iran are the threat to Israel. Generals for Hezbollah and Hamas, right? People who are sworn to destroy the entire independent nation of Israel. That's who they assassinate. So because they have to have a plan for that, They take risks that none of us in CIA would take. So their risk tolerance is higher because their threat vector is so much higher. So, and those two just separate categories, you can see how different the two are. You can just see how the risk profile for the United States goes up significantly, where Israel can keep its operations secret from the United States. Israel's even recruited spies who are American military members without the United States realizing that those same military members are informing Israel.
Wow.
So you can really start to see that they're comparable on points, but not as an entire service.
So all the talk about Israel really controlling the United States, you wouldn't place much weight in that at all.
No, what we're seeing when we think that Israel has this grandiose control of the world, when we think that they're part of some deep state pulling strings, right? What we're seeing there is that Netanyahu specifically, who is without a doubt an authoritarian leader, who has been in office more than a decade, like all the signs of the people that we generally say are bad leaders. We attack Xi Jinping, we attack Vladimir Putin, right? And yet we're seeing it with Netanyahu, one of the closest allies to the United States. What we're seeing is that his authoritarian actions are influential and impactful because he knows how to play the geopolitical game. He understands the leverage that Israel has. He knows when to push a little bit further. He knows how to influence the president, not through secret documents that Epstein might have or might not have. He just understands what the president wants and how to get the president to agree to terms that Israel benefits from. And they've been doing this long before Donald Trump was in office. They've been doing this for as long as we've had a close relationship with Israel. Netanyahu, when he was prime minister, he was doing it. When he wasn't prime minister, he was doing it. Like, we've had this relationship with Israel for a long time. So much of the United States' success is tied to the Jewish diaspora.
You guys never forget where Netanyahu went to school, okay? Never forget that. And never forget what was happening there when he went there. That's all I have to say. Okay, he's made some powerful moves. He has. But when you went there at that time, it's hard for me. And that's like the rabbit hole shit. That's okay. That's a little piece I took out of a tunnel that maybe I shouldn't have. But I'm holding it in my pocket because I got a bad feeling. Okay.
And even still, Americans can't tell the difference between a Jew and an Israeli. They're two different things. So we just end up completely missing the boat and landing on some stupid, oversimplified idea that, oh, Israel must run the world. No. You just have a very sophisticated person who's in an authoritarian position who understands that we can't tell the difference between a citizen of his nation and a follower of the same faith.
No, it's funny because I have a very dear friend of
Beautifully said, I have to say.
mine, 30 some odd years, very dear friend. He's Israeli. And I said to him, you know, why does it seem you don't like Netanyahu? And he said, I don't not like him, I hate him. And I said, why is that? And then prior to saying that, I said, you know, I've never seen such anti-Semitism as we're seeing now. And I think he relates, in the United States, he relates Netanyahu to the anti-Semitism here.
It doesn't matter what leader would be in power during the October 7th or before October 7th. Doesn't matter. The Jews would always get the shit. All the time. We're blamed for everything.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all, especially right now, the way I'm seeing it. I'm sure that there's a small group that constantly exists. I mean, look at Mel Gibson. He literally talks about how the Holocaust didn't happen, right? And how Jews do control the world. I think even Asmongold says that. Even though he supports Israel and the Jews, he also has said that his dad told him the Jews run the world. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I could be. Okay, so don't take me at my word. But I know Mel Gibson does not believe the Holocaust happened. And that's why it's important not to take the muck out of the rabbit holes back to the surface, okay?
Everything. We've been blamed for everything. Way before Netanyahu, we'll be blamed for everything. Way after Netanyahu.
That Jews are not the problem. The faith that a Jewish person follows is not the problem. It's the nation and the policy of Israel that is the problem. And the policymakers in Israel are just people, not necessarily people guided by faith. They're just people guided by their own self-interest.
I disagree with what he's saying, but let's see what else he's going to say.
I think what he's saying is that's how you critique any government, right? Understand that it's not that they're run by some theology, except for, that one group who is owned by a theology and literally colonizes countries still to this day, right? And we don't have to get into Islam right now. But yeah, the only ones who we should be judging are those with a theology, right, in that strict of a manner and an overall distinction. When we get a group of people and we label them all as bad, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's important to look at them individually. Okay, especially when there's not that theology. Like I said, let's leave theology out of it. They're not making decisions based on faith. They're making decisions based off of self-interest, whether that be for others, whether that be for themselves, for their finances, for the safety of their towns. It's self-interest. And it's the same with our government. People are allowed to judge our government. People are allowed to judge any government. But when you go and you say it's this one group, like the Jews are the problem. The Jews are the problem. When they are not living the way that people who have theology like LGBTQIA+.
Okay, I just want to take the second to give another comparison as we talk about the trans issue and the Muslim issue. So we can say, we constantly hear the left saying not all trans, not all LGBTQIA, not all Muslims, right? But the truth is, it is a larger majority of those groups because of the theology. However, I do agree it is not all trans, it is not all Muslims. And Islam, right? Compared to an actual theology, it is very different. They have laws just like us, pretty much. And they're the only democratic state in the Middle East. And yeah, this brain rot's just getting out of hand. I can't even handle it. I feel like I didn't shout out Sahar TV, and that was our last creator. He's super awesome. He is Israeli. He tries to debate people online, like those sites that are like Omegle, and have conversations with them to help them understand what Zionism really is, who Israelis really are, what it's like being there, what it's like being an IDF soldier. So he covers all of that stuff, and I really love his channel. Let's move on to Jay Witt. He has been covering this Candace Owens stuff since the very beginning. And I don't know if he's Jewish also, but he is I'm pretty sure he's a Christian. And I think that he's just as dedicated as me to Israel, because if you're a true Christian, you understand the importance of Israel, their people, and what goes on there, and what will go on there.
We're going to look at a young blood who actually used to work with Candace. And I think his story is really interesting. So I wanted to bring him on. Shout out to Dom Lecrae over there on X, holding it down. Check that brother out. I'll make sure his link is down in the description as well, so you can tap in and see.
So what do you think about Candace?
Talking about. Whoa, hey there, slow down there, that little Sparky. So he was on an interview, on a podcast rather, with a couple other brothers. I know that this is the young blood that used to be on Fresh and Fit. This is I forgot his name, actually. I forgot his name. He'll mention it in a minute. But I thought it was insightful, so let's check it out. Greenhearts in chat when you can hear.
So what do you think about Candace? I want your thoughts on her.
I used to work for her. I was state director of Lexington, Tennessee. Yeah.
I know that.
Oh, wow.
Nigga, didn't you come here with him?
Yeah.
Oh, that part?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So that's 2021. After I did January 6th, I joined Lexington.
Oh shit, y'all! He's bringing back the man purse. You guys get yourself one of those satchels.
In April, I became her state director.
Okay.
Yeah, I became state director of the year, like 2 months after. Bro. That's crazy. I got awards. I still got a trophy at my house. Yeah, but I worked with her for like a year. She might. I'm me. I don't want to keep it. She's not what she seemed, bro. She's not. And the whole story with like Charlie Kirk. With Erica, she wants what Erica has. But the whole story with like Charlie Kirk, with Erica, she wants what Erica has for the most part. And there's a lot of history behind the scenes between her and Charlie. But I can say,
did he knock it down?
Candace, yeah, I'm unaware.
Okay,
but
allegedly,
I can say like, man, she
No.
I'm saying, well, Charlie, what? Candace knows what she's doing. It is stuff, man. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I gotta call it out. So, like, here's a small example. At Turning Point USA, one of Candace's main things that she was saying is that a student was like somewhat mourning, and they asked them to recollect their thoughts. The news asked them, "Hey, what happened? How long have you been working with Charlie?" This was like, what, 10, 15 minutes after he got shot. Now, you see a group of Turning Point USA people strong on him, so you can't talk to the media, don't talk to the cameras. Candace Owens dedicated like 20 minutes of her show to this scenario. Completely disingenuous, because this was part of Turning Point USA, part of Blexit. They all have the same contractual obligations. It's a 501c3, not allowed to talk to the media, no matter what happens, not allowed to talk to politicians. You think the regular viewer will know that? No. So it's
I also think it's interesting. I like how he approached that. I also think it's interesting that Candace makes a lot of hay about a situation. She makes a lot of fuss and then just disappears. It just goes away. Where did it go? So I think this is a great point, man. I like how he did that. Let's go.
That she's doing that's intensified, that times 10. I know it. I'm people game. I'm like, come on, Candace. You know, they legally can't talk. It's a 501c3. If 501c4, they could. But they'll do that to any nigga. They're going to strong. If they find out you talk to the media, Blacks, they're going to pull you aside like they did with him. But she's making it seem like it's a conspiracy. And whenever she's wrong on something, she doesn't admit to the audience that she's wrong. She just doubled down on something yet again.
This is right on the
So
money.
she's kind of like, to me, ruined her investigation because it's disingenuous. And every time that something is wrong, instead of her saying that she's wrong and correct it, she'll claim that, oh, I really got him mad today. I mean, it's absolutely insane, man. When I went to the Charlie Kirk funeral, when we got back, the first thing she did is said, I think they're talking about me. Like,
so what was that meeting about when she went to go see Erica Kirk, allegedly?
They met face to face.
Okay.
And for the most part, I think Erica Kirk was letting her know legally that what position Candace Owens was in. And I think she gracefully asked for her to try to let off on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Candace chose to do what she did when she got back. Not to say this isn't going to go without lawsuits. Candace is pretty tactical. She understands the moment that Turning Point USA attempts to sue her, it's going to look like Candace is the right one.
Right.
They're the wrong ones trying to sedate out the truth. Gotcha. At the very top, that's what they're dealing with. They would love to serve her. They would love to, but they just know the optics right now, and Candace is taking advantage of it. But she's taking advantage of an unaware crowd for clicks.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Some stuff is like, okay, you cooking, but some stuff is like, you know, deep down that this is this way because of this. This is this way because of this.
Yeah, they can't respond.
They made her rich. She got rich because of Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm going to reveal it, bro. Look, Charlie Kirk owned Blexit.org 5 years before Candace had it.
Damn, really?
He owned it. Yeah, it was all, she never owned Blexit. It was Charlie.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because they can't have this white dude. All right, come on now.
Don't
let me get into it, bro.
We got some scandal up in here.
I know what really happened. I was at the very top, bro. Like, I got all the secrets. I know what happened to King Face. I know all that. Like, I know what happened to everyone. I know. I know all the truths. And she's pretty disingenuous with a lot of stuff. Out of all celebrities I've met in my life, Candace is the biggest bitch. And I mean, even with Vivek Ramaswamy, she went on a tour bus with Vivek Ramaswamy. All the other people were asking to take pictures. Candace, she'll stay at the front of the door. She won't touch her audience. She won't take pictures with them. That's why you don't see Candace take pictures with the crowd. You're not obligated to, but she's extremely arrogant. I remember we had a volunteer come down to Blexit that worked from Alaska. Flew all the way down from Alaska, did it all for free.
That's great.
Just a volunteer for our Chattanooga event. The foreman that got Candace Owens coffee asked for her to possibly just see the woman for 12 seconds. And she said, if they're coming from Alaska to volunteer to see me, then they coming with the wrong intentions. Is she wrong? No. That's some bad shit to do.
Wow.
These are the people that's doing it for free. These are people that believe in you. And you're not even legitimate. Your shit's owned by a white man.
That's so sad.
Like, you didn't come up with that idea. Shit, your husband.
I just knew they came up with it.
So those text messages that she leaked, are those true? Like the text messages between her and Charlie Kirk?
They're true. Yeah, they're true. But look at the years. Why that nigga wasn't talking to her 2 weeks before he died? 3 weeks. Me and Fresh, you can find if something happened right now, you're gonna tell him.
Yeah.
That's not 5-6 months ago, bro.
Yeah.
So that's years ago.
Come on.
It's months. Most of it is months, but most of the text that she's sharing is years ago.
Gotcha.
I honestly think Charlie Kirk was just such a good guy. He didn't want to drag a woman in public, and he probably wanted to separate from her, but wanted to do it privately so that she wouldn't get dragged, or like their stuff wouldn't get dug into the way it does nowadays. So yeah, I think he was gracefully trying to step away from her so that they wouldn't be connected because he was tired of her craziness. Let's continue though.
He went on rants. Tim Pool knows Tim Pool ain't no liar. Tim Pool said that he's heard. She's told him personally that she hates Charlie, that she's trying to destroy Charlie.
Wait, Candace said that?
Yes, that's what Tim Pool. That's coming from Tim Pool mouth.
That Tim said
people that know on the inside, they got a lot of disdain for her because it's like, man, you've been disingenuous on the world stage, man.
Oh, shit.
It's like because the people, they don't have this data, so they're going to view it as the worth. Even like the Fort whatever shit happened with the Fort. That didn't come out. Yeah, it didn't come out as green as possible, or even with the with the planes, the Egyptian planes, or some things that came out down, and she just moved to something else.
She just moves on.
She moved to something else. She claimed that her life was threatened. Well, that came out to be a lie. She was at Dolly World, chilling out at Dolly World with fans. She claims that people were trying to kill her. Why are you at Tucker Carlson Christmas party? Like, it's a lot of shit that's just not true. And I'm going to let people enjoy it or enjoy the show because it's content. She's doing her job. She's entertaining niggas. But bro, she has to answer to her own morality at the end of the day. And it's not going to be pretty.
She dropped a video and audio of Erica Kirk celebrating some sales after Charlie's death. You think that's right to do?
I think what she did, I think it's ugly. I think it's demonic to do that because at the end of the day, bro, if you look at the whole video, there's a lot of parts of Erica actually being upset. She's in a compromised situation. What is Erica to do? If she cries, she's a fake crier. If she smiles, she's happy the nigga dead. It's nothing that she can do because that narrative has been set against her. It's nothing she can do. She was literally processing her emotions throughout the video. You're going to laugh. You're going to smile. You're going to be proud. Maybe that's something Charlie dreamed of. Like, this is a person trying to process their emotions. It's a human being trying to act like they're more than that in front of the world, bro. Yeah. She's trying to make the right choices with the world watching and people taking advantage of it. Our party, and the problem I have with this is our party. Democrats, say what you want. Attack her. Do whatever you want to her. That's your position. That's what you're supposed to do on the world stage. But
okay, don't mind me, guys. I'm gonna do my hair while I'm sitting here because I can't stand to look at this puff anymore. Yeah, I didn't get ready before I started recording. Didn't want to, but I can't sit still, and I can't stand looking at this puff of hair on my head. So here we go.
Our party is so quick to attack this woman instead of trying to get the clarity behind the scenes. Why is Candace doing this in front of a monetized audience? You're Candace Owens, the most important black conservative in America. You can get any answer you want.
I mean, she is. I mean, well, for one, I did look into the threats before Charlie Kirk died. So there was a threat on her life from a guy who I believe was from New Jersey, in the New Jersey District Courts, a year to the date, September 10th, where this guy actually threatened her life. Do you know about that?
Yeah, but also, I hope he brings it up. How many threats were on Charlie's life? She did have a threat. There's nobody arguing against that. But how many threats were on Charlie's life? Let's go. Great video.
Someone said this guy going to vent. Look, people idols ain't what they seen. Why was Candace on that Israeli website? That modeling website, bro. Wow.
Yo.
That's funny. I didn't know about that.
At the very top, they know it's real. Why
I didn't know about that.
He won't give you those answers. What about his husband? Her husband is attached to the whole Brexit thing. Okay. Random that they got them linked with Brexit. George wanted to buy Parler. Parler said, "If you ain't got no ties to the conservative movement, we're not letting you buy this. You could be a raging leftist, and you're not from America." Nigga, married Candace Owens. He got that shit in a few weeks, and then guess what they tried to do? They tried to add Ye. Ye didn't like the deal, and he somewhat started beating with George over it. These people aren't what they seem. I mean, even her husband, man. Like, I actually got proof that could ruin that nigga life. Like, on some real. I can show y'all my text.
So
I can prove about
he's from, okay, he's from the UK, and I know he's from some prominent family.
Yeah, Duke of England. He's
Got you.
But you know what's crazy about creators as well? Like, they look at this as well. On camera, they play victim. They're like, oh yeah, I'm better than these people, or I have all the info. Then it's like, oh, I know you, bro. I know you're capping. Like, why you capping to them? Just be honest.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine him being close to them. Like, yo, listen, this is the real people here. Oh, we in on them. No, I know them personally.
Yes, bro. It makes you look like it's like.
It makes you look like a hater.
You do.
And I'm like, bro, like, I know them more than you niggas know.
Right.
Like, why would I label this shit? Like,
and the way that the chat started attacking me, that's why niggas. So I want the chat to just use me as an example.
Yeah.
This is why niggas don't speak. Oh, that nigga defended Erica. Okay, if the narrative is set for you to be against Erica, it's brave for me to even sit here and try to give her some type of leadership. I must know something to be confident on it, but people, it's not the answer that they want, so I'm automatically bad guy. Like X said famously, it's better to be liked than be right. So if I came on here dissing Erica, oh, this nigga cooking.
Yeah.
Bro, just because I'm not cooking what the you want to eat don't mean I stop making the dish. Like, bro, I don't get that shit. Cooking.
Hey, this is why I have this platform, right?
Yeah.
Because I was going in on Erica only because there's a lot of questions, and I connect the dots because with the Fort Huachuca and all that stuff, her mom owning that company E3 Tech Group, for EMPs, it's weird.
Her being a model, I mean, all the stuff. I can't speak about her being with Trump from the very beginning, all that stuff is worth mentioning. But what that is the people unfortunately got to look inside how the elites get down. These niggas don't marry normal. It's got to be through knowing somebody. Right. That's just the elites.
Yeah,
people just so haven't got to get a peek inside. That's no conspiracy.
Yeah, we
that's just how above these niggas moving compared to us.
We have a peephole of what's going on.
Yeah, they shit move a little different. So it's like, oh, y'all want to go see that. But that ain't got nothing to do with what you think it does. That's just how they move. That's just their reality. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, the stuff that she does, the way hugging a nigga, holding the back of his head, that shit won't get you hate. But guess what? I can find you 14 different videos of while Charlie was live, Erica going for the back of the head. So I'm like, okay, that's how she hugs.
Yeah.
You don't see those parts. So it's stuff like that where I have to remain and stay critical. And I can't fault anyone that asks questions, especially if you don't have information.
Definitely.
I was asking for questions. I'm not even talking like this until I got close to turning point. So I would have been asking questions. It's just that I got a little bit more clarity that I somewhat.
So you have the inner workings and have a little bit more insight.
And I could be completely wrong. Bro, this is the real world. They could be feeding me propaganda. They put that shit here to make people believe it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying from the information I got, I believe it more than what's being presented online.
This is why it's so important to have a true north, you guys. Find God and always have a moral compass of your own so you're not trusting other people's opinions. And hey, maybe you're wrong sometimes, but guess what? It's on you. It's not on someone else, and you can't blame anyone else. It's something you took on and you said, so now you have to face it and learn to either look at things a different way or build a different path or stay sour, right? You have to choose. And listening to all these people trying to chirp in my ear or in my inbox or my comments about hating Turning Point, about hating Israel, and it's all based in propaganda, I'm not going to eat it. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm telling you, take muck out of a rabbit hole and show it to me, and I'm going to laugh at you. I will, unless I ask for it and I'm looking for stuff. Don't do that, especially if you're going to continue to shove it on my page and my feed. That stuff is so annoying, like especially when I've made it very clear, this is my stance, this is my morals. Stop trying to push me in a different direction. I've already told you I'm not there, like shut the fuck up, right? Then it's going to be bye-bye. Can't handle it. And I'm talking about like strangers, right? Obviously not like family. If it's family, we should be able to put it aside. If we can't put it aside, then that's just retarded. Okay? Because it's fucking politics. The only reason it's mattering so much is because it's in the lifestyle and entertainment section right now. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't matter. Trump's just very good at getting politics in the entertainment, okay? It's a beautiful combination. It's a rich combination, okay? And I think people should take notes. Let's see if there's anything left here.
Shout out to brother Dom LeCrae. Shout out to him. And matter of fact, real quick, make sure you check out his ex.
The internet is on.
This is important. This is the important one I wanted to show you guys. The most important thing that's going on with the case, and that is the bullet doesn't match.
On fire right now. A false news article has gone. The internet is on fire right now. A false news article has gone out from the Daily Mail saying that Candace Owens was right about everything. It is a lie. It is not true. We're going to break it all down right here. Also, new court documents reveal Tyler Robinson's parents will be called to testify against him in the trial. And finally, stick around to the end because one of Candace Owens' informants just accidentally slipped up and admitted that Joe Kent is a traitor inside the U.S. government. So the discovery process for Tyler Robinson's case is underway right now. In discovery, essentially, the prosecutors and the defense are talking to each other, showing each other the evidence that they have. We are 1 month away from his case being heard by a judge, and we just received shocking court documents that give us some clues into what the prosecutors actually plan to do. Obviously, we care about this a lot because we want the prosecutors to be successful. This is coming from Tyler Robinson's defense, by the way. The reason why the defense is leaking all of this is because he wants there to be a tainted jury pool. They do not want the public to think that Tyler Robinson has done this, especially since they know now that cameras are likely going to be in the room. So part of the strategy for the defense then is to delay as long as possible, because the longer that people like Candace Owens can go on and continue to spout off lies, the longer that the jury pool can be tainted. Fox News reports the following. They said attorneys for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of assassinating conservative icon Charlie Kirk, have revealed who prosecutors intend to call to the stand and also asked the court to delay the preliminary hearing. The filing made by defense attorneys on Friday states that prosecutors intend to call Robinson's parents and his roommate and romantic partner, Lance Twiggs, to testify at the preliminary hearing. Robinson's defense team is also asking the judge for a minimum 6-month delay for the preliminary hearing, which is currently scheduled for May 18th. So the 3 people that Tyler Robinson already confessed the crime to are going to either have to tell everyone that, which is going to be fantastic, or perjure themselves. And believe me, right now the evidence is sufficient already to prove that Tyler confessed to them. We have the Discord messages. Obviously, the reason why prosecutors want people to testify is because then there's just no doubt. Obviously, Candace Owens and others have tried to peddle this conspiracy theory that those text messages were made up by the FBI. If that's the case, then prosecutors can just simply disprove them by calling the people who received those text messages onto the stand. And my thing is, if you look at the boyfriend or the parents, I think at least one of them is not going to perjure themselves. They will testify that Tyler Robinson did this because Tyler Robinson's trans lover might plead the 5th, for example, which will only make Tyler look more guilty. But then the parents, on the other hand, there is very good evidence that Tyler Robinson told them what he did. And so if they get up there and they say he didn't, then they could be tried for perjury, and you can go to jail for perjury. So I don't think, again, I think Tyler Robinson's trans lover maybe would plead the 5th. I think the parents would not plead the 5th. I think that they will not perjure themselves either. I think they will testify against their son because they turned him in after all. And so basically, Tyler Robinson's whole team right now is terrified because what this hearing is in May is a judge is going to determine whether or not this case moves to trial and we bring in a jury. And that's obviously going to be months or even years down the line. But right now, Tyler Robinson's defense has the opportunity to just dismiss this case. It's not going to happen. The defense knows they're screwed, especially if Tyler Robinson's parents get on the stand and say that Tyler did this. So their only play is to try and delay as long as possible so this case can get more convoluted by conspiracy theorists. That's the horrible irony of all of this.
It's really sad that this is legal. And yeah, it's like I said, you have to have that moral grounding of your own ability to tell the difference between the truth and false, right? You have to have that moral compass to find the right direction. And sometimes it can be wrong. Yes, it's true. But right now, we really have to hone in on that because there's so much false information right now with the fact that the internet was being censored for a few years, right? We know this. This is facts. It was censored for like 8 to 10 years, right? Not so heavily in Trump's term. Well, I guess it still was. But really, really intense the other 4 years, right, under Biden. And the second that Trump stopped that from happening, we were just pummeled with whatever information was out there. The truth, falsities, conspiracies. And I think that a lot of false entities right now, whether it's bots or people, they're out there pushing this information just to overload us. Because when we're overloaded with information, something happens, right? We shut it off. We shut it down. Sometimes you give into fear. Sometimes you give into anxiety. And what do I say? Those are the devil's favorite tools, right? Asmongold actually explained this. So I will put it in here because, yeah, it's very important. It's very short. And I'm going to add it right now really quick so you guys can see it.
Is you've got Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, all the other horrible actors who are openly protecting a trans assassin leftist in all of this.
Yeah, I really think Ian should have stuck to the, what is it called? The grocery stores. He should have stuck to the grocery store lines. He was doing really good at the aisles, exposing companies. Go back to that. That was cool. This, not so much.
Even if he did it, even if Tyler Robinson did do it, and he did, that does not mean he's going to be going to jail.
Hello everyone, today I am testing an interesting tool called Hidden 3D.
Unfortunately, because if there's a hung jury, and some people are tainted by Candace Owens and they think this is all conspiracy theory, all it takes is one jury member or two jury members to make it so Tyler Robinson does not go to jail for life or even get the death penalty like Spencer Cox, our governor, has said he will pursue. Other things they're trying to do to delay this include fighting cameras being in court. That was denied. They're also trying to get prosecutors removed from the case. Apparently one of their daughters was at the Charlie Kirk event at UVU. The judge came out this last week and said, that's not a thing, dude. It's not a conflict of interest just because his daughter was at the event. None of it's working. And Candace Owens and her cronies know this. And so their only play is to distract and taint the jury pool as best as possible. And that brings up the big hoax that went on X yesterday and continues to go on today and will probably keep going on for weeks and months after. The Daily Mail posted this horrible.
And yeah, you guys make sure you are researching and checking these things, checking titles on news articles. For the most part, it's clickbait, just like thumbnails, right? It's huge, big, ambiguous lies, and inside of the paragraph, you'll find the truth somewhere, but you have to use your moral judgment on which part is an opinion, which part is misleading, which part can you smell the lies, and where is the truth?
Horrible thing. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk posted this horrible thing. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle, allegedly used by suspect. Tyler Robinson new court filing claims. And
So misleading. So misleading.
You're thinking, wait, Josh, I thought you talked about this last week. I thought we already went through the court filings. I thought we addressed this already. You would be correct. This has been out for a week now. Nobody knew it because they don't actually go and do the research, but these court filings have been out for a week and I already debunked them. This story is based on court documents that were submitted a long time ago, and my friend Tommy Stevenson wrote a piece on it at The True Millennial, and I talked about it. The only problem is the Daily Mail outright lies about what the court documents contain because it's all about the clicks nowadays, not about the truth, and because people just read headlines and not stories, everyone online thinks this is real now. We have very famous people all the way down to random people saying Candace was right about everything. That's what you see on X right now. So let's dig into it. We'll talk about what the story really says. It starts like this. They say the bullet that killed conservative commentator Charlie Kirk may not match the rifle used by suspected killer Tyler Robinson, a bombshell new court filing states. I just have to point out for a second, and I apologize if I'm getting emotional or amped about this because this just pisses me off so bad. It's just blatant lying. First sentence of the freaking article says the bullet that killed conservative commentator Charlie Kirk may not match the rifle. Let's go back to the headline for a second. Bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk did not match rifle. Are you joking me? You couldn't have included that. If you would have just said, bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk may not have matched rifle, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. That's accurate. But that's not what you said in the headline, and you know what you did. Daily Mail, you garbage heap of a newspaper. So
technically, the Daily Mail has never been a very good source, right? I mean, I've had the Daily Mail as a source on my paranormal channel. So that'll tell you what they do. Okay. I love paranormal. But do you know how many people believe the paranormal? Like 20%, I think? I don't know. I think it's like 20%. I don't really know. I just guessed.
Well, already they've lied in the first sentence. Second sentence. But its defense attorneys, again, Tyler Robinson's defense attorneys, now argue that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, quote, was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson. That's the whole thing, guys. The rest of the article is random things about the case that has nothing to do with the headline. Like nothing, things we've known for a long time about that aren't controversial. And that right there in that sentence, that's what supposedly proven Candace was right about everything. The fact that they were unable to identify the bullet recovered. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they were unable to look at it. They didn't know. It's not that it didn't match the rifle. It's just we do not know. And there are thousands of people online right now trying to convince millions that that headline is true. Just to be clear, the only thing this article said is that Tyler Robinson's lawyer said that the forensics on the bullet fragments came back as inconclusive. That's it. That's the whole story. I saved you a ton of time. You don't need to go read it. It's one sentence long. The entire story could have been a headline. And the headline could have been, Tyler Robinson lawyer says forensics on the bullet fragments came back as inconclusive. That's the whole, look, I came up with that on the spot. I didn't even have to create this fake article for everybody. And ironically, that fact right there proves my point in Kash Patel's testimony even more. The actual thing that happened, and I talked about it last week, is that the bullet fragmented. That's why it didn't go through Charlie Kirk. One of the questions many people have. And fragmented bullets cannot be ballistically matched to the gun it was shot from about 60% of the time. That is the rule, not the exception. So this literally proves that the conspiracy theories are wrong even more than before. But the garbage Daily Mail chose the clicks over the truth, and now that disinformation has spread like wildfire. That Daily Mail article has 23 million views.
My honest opinion, the reason that we're on our own right now with our moral compass, God is trusting us. God is testing us. God is testing us to see where our moralities stand right now. And it's not on my opinion. It's not on the opinion of those to the left or those in the comments or those in your messages. It's on the opinion of Him above, who you should be prioritizing. Are you doing right by Him? Not by the others' opinions. Mute them out. They are white noise. Ignore them like we ignore the rest of the demons that we pass, that we have no clue we're passing. Okay? Start praying. God.
From X alone. This has consequences. This is why I'm talking about it on the show. I know there's some people in the comments occasionally who are like,
the Daily Mail has to face, whoever wrote that, right? They're going to have to face their day their judgment day once that. They will face judgment one day. They will. Okay? And when they do, will they be right by Christ? Will they? Do they care? I doubt it. But that's how I'd be looking at it.
why are you talking about the Charlie Kirk stuff still? Why are you talking about Candace Owens? I just cannot stand for 23 million people to see these lies and not try to spread the truth as much as I can, even though I know far less than 23 million people are going to see this. Just for perspective, again, I talked about this story a week ago before the Daily Mail even saw those court documents, and I posted a piece of it on X with Tommy Stevenson, who again wrote the article. You can see it right here. Candace Conspiracy Theory Exposed, and it's me. You can see this post got 10,000 views. 23 million, 10,000. The truth is just not popular always. It's not as entertaining, unfortunately, but it's true. It is.
Yeah, it's the entertaining aspect. He is right.
It's true. And so I think the people at the Daily Mail should be ashamed of themselves.
I agree.
I try to be optimistic, but I do think this stuff just leaves me speechless. I just cannot believe the evil that exists in this world. As a society, if we choose to love lies more than truth, we're screwed. One of the top Candace Owens informants named Mitch Snow just made a major slip up on a podcast, and we're going to show it. Because Mitch Snow, if you're not aware, is the guy who said that he saw Erica Kirk meeting with people at a military base called Fort Huachuca. He and Candace claim, and have claimed for months now, that there was a secret meeting organizing the assassination of Charlie Kirk and that Erica Kirk was there. For context, here is what he said to Candace Owens originally on her show.
You know, some other pictures I came up with other people.
What other people? Other pictures?
If you want me to say, there's a picture of Erica Kirk with a ponytail, and from her past. That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before, and she was with that man in the lobby, and that man, he was present at that meeting the next morning. So
you had to put it at a percentage that you saw that the girl in the ponytail matches the description of Erica Kirk. What percentage would you put that at?
those are really rare eyes. That's 95 to 99%. I can't imagine somebody else.
So Mitch Snow was on another podcast, and he openly admitted that when he reached out to Candace Owens about this info in the first place, that she referred him to Joe Kent. This was months ago, who was in the Trump admin at the time, and that he was in charge of vetting all of the people for Candace Owens. Take a look.
I know Candace said you were vetted. Who vetted you?
Oh, geez. Yeah. You know, I let that slip once, and maybe I wasn't supposed to, but yeah, it was Joe Kent.
Wow.
She trusted
That's
him.
crazy. I didn't know this.
We had, what was it, about the 12th of December, babe? About the 10th.
Wow.
It would have been the 10th. About the 10th of December.
That's crazy.
Strangely enough, my birthday. Yeah, we had
this is
a
true.
15-minute conversation, and then all he had to do was see records. And
I mean, this guy lies a lot.
yeah, I gave him all the records. I gave him so many records. He said, "Stop! You're done. You're good. You check out, brother. You're go at this station. Move forward. Good luck on Candace."
And he'd be able to tell. He'd be able to
That's
recognize in a
crazy.
heartbeat if you were who you said you were.
Correct. So you have these. Well, dear. Okay, you have these self-proclaimed internet military guys that seemingly own everything military on the internet, who want to dictate and yell at women and tell them they're going to go scorched earth on them. That claim that they are the end all to vetting people. They ain't got no connections, no records. They're not allowed to. They're just like you and me. So
That's actually not
yeah,
true.
Joe Kent.
That's not true. I've learned this. I've learned this while doing a lot of research this past 2 years. That is not true. A lot of people have passes that shouldn't anymore, like a ton of people. And it's actually insanely scary. I wish I could find the clips I have, but they're starting to remove people's privileges because they were never removed. Like, this had to have happened at the beginning of 2025. I feel like it was when they took Obama's thing away. What is it called? I don't even remember what it's called. I'm not going to remember. I know I won't. So I'm just going to move on. But their privileges for information and stuff were taken away because it was really bad. And maybe that might be the only guy who could have done it for them now because he's the only snake in the grass. But yeah, I know this was a big issue. So that's insane if this is true.
Yeah, he can take the records, go look it up, dial stuff in. He knows more about my records than I do.
So just to be clear, that means Joe Kent was using the U.S. databases to do background checks for Candace Owens. That was his side project, his side hustle. Every time Candace says on her show that this was verified, she says that a lot. Because if she says it more, maybe people will believe it. What she actually means is Joe Kent was committing treason by spying on Americans without any approval from the President of the United States or any of his higher-ups. And then giving that information to a podcaster. Insane. Joe Kent should go to jail.
100%.
Mitch Snow should go to jail. He has a history of doing this, by the way. He is a con artist. I got this text from an old associate of Mitch Snow's. She said this. This person asked, "May I ask, was he in the Army, and did he discover the drug tunnels, or was he medically discharged after an injury? Both? Neither?" That's in reference to how Mitch Snow got out of the military. She said, "He had a drunken stopper, broke his back, and was discharged. No to tunnels." Wow, this is quite a different story than he told Candace Owens. I'm assuming you've seen that all? And she said, "Yes, I know. He's been lying his whole life on podcasts to scam money for years." This is what he does. By the way, I spoke to Erica's good friend Tracy about Fort Huachuca because I was just curious because obviously she talks to Erica Kirk a lot. And she said Erica Kirk had never even heard of Fort Huachuca. She didn't even know what that was. And yet Candace Owens had made 4 episodes about how Erica Kirk had a secret meeting there. Then Erica Kirk came out, by the way, with evidence that she was not there the night that Mitch Snow said she was. And Candace Owens just forgot about it. She just moved on. It just, she just completely fabricated this entire story and then just moved on. So Candace Owens fans, I know you're watching this video because you always watch the video. I've seen you in the comments saying, oh, why don't you just address the lies that she's been telling? Why don't you actually debunk her then? Here is one of thousands of examples, guys, of her using someone in the U.S. government. Are you okay with that, really? Who is spying on U.S. citizens. And then we find out that Mitch Snow is just full of crap. He's got no evidence for this, and Erica Kirk has real evidence that she was not at Fort Huachuca that day. She used an intelligence officer in our government to vet someone. She then trusted everything he said and then immediately got debunked and just moved on to the next thing since she realized she got humiliated. That's the person you follow. Gross. I hope Mitch Snow gets sued for defamation.
Me too.
I hope Candace Owens gets sued for defamation. But even more than those two things, Joe Kent should go to jail for espionage against the United States government, and he should go to jail for a long, long time. I have never asked for donations on the show before, and the reason why is because I'm not a communist. But for those of you who are wanting to support the show, I did want to introduce you to memberships. You can become a member of the Josh Carr Show here on YouTube if you want to. It's only $1.99, and you can.
Okay, he's pretty awesome, you guys. I just subscribed to him today. So, if you guys stand with me, in my opinion, go follow him because he seems like a pretty good source. If he's talking to someone who talks to Erica, hopefully it's true. I believe it. It seems true to me. My compass is pointing me in this direction. Okay. Well, there you have it. There's April's Fools, okay? We have Kooky Candy, Joe Kent, and that other crazy dude, that Mitchell guy. April's Fools of 2026. I will see you next time.